And we're live.
Yay.
Yay! But we're going to give it a second. So if you're still with us right now, hang out because we're going to make sure that we're live and that Facebook tells us for real. And it does. Awesome. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
You too.
Thanks. Welcome back to Bravo Music Academy. I'm Miss Christie, and today, as you can see, I am joined by the amazing Miss Emma.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Emma's had a big day today here at the Academy, and we're wrapping it up kind of the fun way, right?
Yes.
Yes. So before we start, I would like to remind you guys that we have our holiday play dates coming up. Do you know about those?
Yeah.
Yep. I was calling them classes before, but I realized they're more fun than that, so they're play dates. So that's what we're calling them. They're coming up next Thursday, and there's still room. We got two of them, one at 2:45 and the other at 4:30? 6:30. 6:30. So if you want information, I will put some of that in the description below. But today, we are talking about how to... how to practice. Now, I've done a bunch of tips previously about specific practice strategies and practice techniques, but today we're going to talk about general how to practice efficiently, how to practice effectively, and how to really make good progress with your practice. So, you ready to dive in? Yeah. Number 1, we have 5 tips. I didn't tell them that. We have 5 tips for you today. Number 1 is to practice in short and frequent sessions. Do you know what the word frequent means?
I did, but now I forgot.
You did, but now you forget? Okay. It means often. So shorter practice sessions, like 10, 15 minutes more often, are much, much more effective than one really super mega long practice session. And there are 2 reasons for that. Do you know what they are? No. One is our attention. Okay. So you're a little squirmy. You've been here for a while. You're a little squirmy right now. So from my perspective, that's telling me that you're losing attention. You're losing your focus. Do you feel like you're losing your focus?
Not really.
Not really? All right. That's good. For me, when I lose focus, I kind of zone out. And I just sit there. And I stare.
Oh.
That's how I lose focus. So when you're doing a shorter session, you're all kinds of squirmy today. When you're doing a shorter practice session, it makes it a lot easier for you to maintain your focus. Now, what about doing it frequently or more often? How is that beneficial? How's that good for you?
Then you'll be able to learn it, and then if you have a limit of time before you learn it, like for a recital or something, and you practice frequently and you have the song, then you'll be able to finish up the details.
Yeah, and the more you do it, the better, right? Our brains like, I'm going to give you another big word. Are you ready? I bet you can figure this one out if you don't know. Repetition.
Repeated?
Yeah, repeatedly. Our brains love it when we repeat things over and over and over again. So if you do one thing for 10 minutes and then go get a snack and then come back and do it again for another 10 minutes and then go and do some homework and then come back and do it again for another 10 minutes, you will get more accomplished in those 30 minutes than you would if you sat down and did the same thing over and over again for 2 hours. So, short and frequent practice sessions are effective and efficient for you. Number 2, you want to read number 2 to everybody?
Slowly or even.
Nope.
Wait. What? Oh, target the tough.
Target the tough. She was reading under my finger. You were talented. Target the tough. What does that mean?
Um, it means you have to do harder.
Do the hard things. Yeah. Yeah, it's not practice if you know what you're doing. It's playing. And that's okay. It's definitely good to step back and play stuff that you know, but you don't want to focus on that. You want to focus on the things that you don't know. The things that are tough. I don't like using the word hard because the hard stuff is the fun stuff. And as you progress and grow, you realize that the hard stuff is the fun stuff. So the tough stuff, the stuff that gives you trouble, that's what you focus on. Okay? You do that. I know you do that because you're progressing a lot. All right, number 3 is to practice slowly, especially when something's new. It's so important, right? I like to say super slow-mo. I write that in all capital letters.
Yeah.
In some. I don't think I've written it in yours in quite a while.
Never.
Never?
Well, you have.
But just not in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're good at taking your time. Why is it important that we take our time?
So then you can focus more.
You can focus more and you can get it right. Right? Because if you don't know what you're doing and you try to fly through it the first time, you're not going to get it right. So you definitely want to take your time, go slow, get it right, and then as you're learning it, that's when you can start going faster and faster, as long as you're playing the right notes and the right rhythms and the right dynamics and the right fingerings and all the everything, right? All right. Number 4. I like this one, and we didn't talk about number 4 yet, so we're going to talk about it now. And I'm going to ask you your take. Number 4 is practice in your brain. And I need you to stop kicking the table because you're shaking us, making me dizzy. What do you think practice in your brain means?
Practice in your brain.
Mm-hmm. Practice in your brain.
Is it like practice steps? But you don't do those in your brain. Is it kind of like memory? And then you play it in your brain?
There you go. You just said the magic words. You play it in your brain. So our brains are so strong that if we just think about something and think about doing it over and over, it makes it easier to play. And it makes it easier to do. So if you're practicing in your brain, you are thinking through all of the movements. I like to close my eyes when I practice in my brain. So I do not practice in my brain when I'm driving, because that's bad. But if you practice thinking about the song, the notes, the shape of the melody, where your fingers go, how you're doing it, it really, really helps get all of that information deeper into your brain and deeper into your fingers as you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you could sit down. I want you to try this week. And I want you to try this week too. I want you to sit down, grab a piece of music that you're practicing. Which one should you do? How about the cat?
Okay.
The cat song. So sit down at the dining room table. Don't have your instrument with you. And play through the piece up here. So feel your fingers moving. Hear the notes that are being played. And know what rhythms you're going to be doing. And then see how that helps you practice when you do end up back at the piano or back at your instrument, whatever you play. Good?
Yeah.
All right, that's number 4. One more. Woo, we're almost there. You want to read it?
Know when to move on.
Can you read it to them now?
Know when to move on.
Know when to move on. This is a tough one because a lot of times we can get frustrated when we're practicing. You get frustrated?
Yes.
Who gets frustrated? Raise your hand. Yes! 2 hands and a foot. I see that foot. Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've practiced something and gotten so frustrated. That is a point. If you start feeling that little bit, move on. Go get a drink of water. Pull out another piece. Stop playing altogether and go for a walk and come back to it. Come back to it later that day. Come back to it another day. But if you start getting frustrated, it's going to make it harder for you to practice correctly, but it's also going to make it harder for you to practice well. Right? Do you know why?
Because maybe because if you just play it for a while, then you're just not really. If you're just sitting there getting frustrated, you're not really going anywhere in the piece if you're just stuck on the same part the whole time.
Yep, and your focus changes, right? You're not focusing on what you're doing and what you're learning anymore. You're focusing on your frustration. And you're focusing on the things that you can't do, and not in a positive way, right? Sometimes we have to focus on the things that we can't do in a positive way so that we can work through them and then be able to do them. But, are you copying me? But focusing on them in a negative way when you are frustrated is not a good way to go. All right. That was good. Can we run through our 5 tips really quickly one more time?
Okay.
The first one for good, effective practice is to have short and frequent sessions. Only work on it for a little bit and then come back to it over and over and over. And that really is going to help you practice the most. Number 2,
target the tough.
Do the hard things. If you're not doing the stuff you don't know, you're not practicing, you're just playing. Number 3, practice slowly, or even better, slow motion. Get it all right before you start to speed it up.
Practice in your brain.
In your brain, that's number 4. So know what's happening up in here before putting it in here, or in here, or in here, or in here, or in here. Did I get any? Or in here. That's me singing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Little Mermaid. Right? All right, and the last one, know when to move on. Know when to step back and let things kind of marinate. I use that word a lot in lessons. If a student is struggling with something, I say, let's put it away this week. Let's let it marinate, right? Let it sit in your brain juices and get all good and tender and soft, and then we'll come back to it the next week. And 9 times out of 10, it's a whole lot better because your brain and fingers have had the chance to let it kind of settle in. So, those are our 5 tips for how to practice. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. All right. Well, we will catch you guys next week. And again, I will leave that link to our holiday music play dates down below. And you can check that out. And we will see you. Do you have anything else to add? I almost forgot.
Nope.
No? All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.